Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone, to The Author's Journey. I hope that you're having an amazing day. Honored to be connecting in with you. And today we're going to be interviewing a powerful father and son writing team that has created a dynamic book that has helped create hope, healing, and transformation for its readers. Very excited to bring them aboard and to learn from them and what went into bringing this forward. How were they able to leverage their journey, their story in such a powerful way that is creating hope and healing for others and transformation. And in fact, it was received on such a powerful level, it became a #1 international best-selling book. So let's lean into our conversation today. I know there's lots that we're going to learn and discover, and I'm just thrilled and honored to have each and every one of you turning in and leaning into the conversation. And I want you to be able to get the most out of our time together today. So to do so, I want to encourage you to pause. Take a breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Beautiful. That helps bring air deeply in, oxygen, release out what no longer serves. That breath and slowing down mindfully and purposely helps us connect in. Because I want you to get the most out of our time together today, because I know there is something here for you by the very nature of you tuning in. Secondly, I want to invite you to get a piece of paper and your favorite writing utensil so that as you hear these ideas or they're sparked from within you, you capture them, you write them down, that aha moment, that next step you can take, or that new perspective you have when you're reading a book. It's so easy to hear them in the moment and then to get distracted as you step back out into the world. So I encourage you to really mindfully, purposely focus in. This is your time. Get that paper and pen ready so you can capture those notes and insights that are supportive of you. And as you take another beautiful breath in and out, it is my privilege and honor to introduce the father of our father-son team today, Jeffrey Olson. He is a #1 international best-selling author, international inspirational speaker who inspires audiences around the world with his intriguing story of perseverance and inner strength. After a horrific automobile accident that took the lives of both his wife and his youngest son, also inflicting multiple life-threatening injuries, including the amputation of his left leg, he found the courage to survive over 18 surgeries and eventually heal both physically and emotionally. His passion is to inspire you to heal and embrace all the beauty around you. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic Jeffrey Olson to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you.
You are so welcome. I'm thrilled to have you joining us today. And I wanted to have you share a little bit about why this most recent book called Where Are You? Why was this book important to you to bring forward and to really continue helping people embrace the beauty around them?
Oh, it's been such an incredible thing. As you know, as you've outlined, we had a horrible accident. Spencer and I survived the accident. The rest of the family passed. And I had a profound out-of-body or near-death experience, which I've written about in my personal memoir titled Knowing. The interesting thing about this latest book, Where Are You?, is it was written from Spencer's perspective. He was only 7 years old at the time of the accident, and he didn't have a profound out-of-body experience. He was dealing with the grief, the shock, the loss in the heart of a 7-year-old child, and wow, how do you put all those pieces together? So as we collaborated on this project and really reached back into that 7-year-old mindset, where are you? It's been an incredible healing experience for us to, put aside any of the mystical, near-death, out-of-body experiences and say, wow, how does one deal with grief and loss from a child's perspective to move forward and to heal and to find joy and beauty in life again?
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing a little bit about the perspective of this book, why you were led to bring it forward. And with that, I'm going to introduce our amazing Spencer as well, who helped collaborate and write from his perspective, that 7-year-old's perspective at the time of the accident. So let me take a moment to introduce our amazing co-author, Spencer Olson, who is a #1 international best-selling author. He survived the above accident that Jeffrey described at the age of 7, losing his mother and his younger brother. He has worked with young people in after-school programs, as well as volunteered with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. He now presents with his father around the world to inspire and uplift others on their healing journey. He's pursuing a career as an electrician and is passionate about empowering you on your journey. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful, dynamic, and heart-centered Spencer Olson to the show. Welcome.
Right on. Thank you, Rebecca.
You are so welcome. I'm thrilled to have you joining us today, and I'm so curious about this book that you collaborated with your father to bring forward. Where are you? And what led you to want to share from that perspective of what it was like as a 7-year-old to suddenly lose so much of your family and even your father in some ways, because he was in the surgeries and recovering and going on his journey. Why was it important to you to lean in and bring this book forward?
So it was important to me just because I wanted to tell the story of that 7-year-old child and try and help heal those who have gone through similar traumas and similar trials. I know also in my dad's releasing of his book, Knowing, a lot of people had always said that they wanted to hear my side of the story. And so that's why we released it.
I love that. And as you look back, and it became a bestseller, an international bestseller, and it's continuing to ripple out into the world, have there been any surprises on that journey as people have responded to reading the book? Spencer?
Well, I think the biggest surprise was that despite our initial thoughts, this is not only a child's book. It's not a children's book. It applies to everybody, that we all go through trying things in our lives, and we all lose people that we love. And, it goes much more beyond applying, just for kids.
I love that. So it's reaching all ages and that coming to that place of grief and really looking for healing and support and hope. And I love that it's crossing so many different ages, and people around the world are really being impacted by that. And Jeffrey, I know there was a lot of thought that went into how you captured the emotion and the feeling of Spencer's beautiful words. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that so we can have a visual concept for our listeners today?
I would love to. And that was the biggest surprise. I mean, we set out to make this, we believed we were writing a children's book because the tender age of 7, Spencer wanted to reach out to those little ones that are struggling and dealing with grief and loss and things in their life. As we shared the words, where are you, and embarked on what we thought was a simple children's book, once again, the big surprise was how it was embraced by everyone. And also the images. In my heart, I was setting out to tell Spencer's story, and so the images began with, wow, we want to show the same little boy through this process. And it was Spencer who said, no, Dad, this is not my story. This is all of our story. I want to show diversity. I want to show, all kinds of different people and embrace humanity in a way that goes far beyond just me and my journey, but embraces everyone. The images were really fun to create because we brought that diversity in. And they're almost impressionistic. They're almost very painterly, and you see the strokes in the images, which is very much like grief. It's not crystal clear. It's not photographic. It's whimsical. It's impressionistic. It's a little bit foggy, if you will, and that's what we attempted to capture, was that journey of coming out of that into clarity and into the beauty of realizing that we're never alone, and no one is ever truly lost, that they're right here with us, and we live on through them. We live on through them, and they cheer us on.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love that. And I love the feel of your book and the images. They look like paintings to me. That's how they strike me as I go through them, and they evoke emotion and feeling. And I know I get pulled in by the words, and I get pulled in by the artwork. They work synergistically so powerfully together. So I love that. And everyone who has read the book has been deeply impacted and moved in powerful ways. And so I love that you're both leaning into, one, you leaned into bringing the book forward, being open to discovering that it served children and all ages, people struggling with grief and going through grief, giving them hope and healing, and that you're also leaning into speaking and sharing. So using the book as a way to support and then building things around that to continue that support and journey. So I'm curious if, Spencer, if you had anything you wanted to add to that, to what your father said, as well as looking at continuing that message of hope and healing for people.
I don't know if I have anything necessarily to add to that. The main message of our book is just to, that our loved ones live on through us, and, it never gets easier. But I feel like they would want us to live life to the fullest and to not let the sorrow of our loss drag us down, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And then,
it's
Jeffrey,
been interesting,
anything?
Rebecca,
I was going to see if you wanted to add in.
It's been interesting, the feedback. It's been really intriguing, the feedback we've gotten, because there's two things that are also kind of surprising, but they're beautiful when the emails come in, or the notes about the book from readers. Number one, where are you? Now, we titled it about where are you, my loved one who has passed, but and Spencer brought this to my attention. Where are you personally? Even the title, like, where am I in my grief process and in my healing? And that was profound. And then we've also gotten feedback from people who have not lost loved ones, who are not necessarily in grief. But the book has this very powerful undercurrent of where are you as far as this divine connection, what is this thing we call God? What is this thing that I'm missing in my life? Where's just this connection of empowerment, of enlightenment, of peace that I don't have? And we've gotten feedback from many who aren't even experiencing grief, saying, "Wow, you mean the divine is within me? The divine is all around me. It's in the flowers and the clouds and the trees." And that's been a profound awakening on our end, to see that people are embracing it at a deeper level than even grief, at a very personal level of where am I on my personal journey, and how am I connecting to that divine part of me that does bring peace.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And you've created such a powerful book that is touching people on so many different levels. And we are getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And I want to encourage our listeners to be thinking about what Jeffrey and Spencer have been sharing. When you think about books that you're reading, have you noticed how they connect in with you, how they help you go deeper? For those of you who are writing your books, you're writing your stories, you're wanting to create that transformation or bring hope and healing, How are you bringing in some of those elements, that undercurrent, to help support people in that way, to connect with their emotions, to connect with their heart, to connect with their spirit? So we will continue our conversation in just 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Explore the poetry of Sam Yao. His book of poems, Soul's Journey, is a #1 international bestseller. Sam is a contemporary poet with a unique and highly relatable poetic style to convey the essence of spiritual truths for our time. Readers will find beauty, inspiration, and healing in his words. Get his book, Soul's Journey, today on Amazon.com or visit samyaupoetry.com. That's Sam, Y-A-U, poetry.com. Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, an opportunity to process what's speaking to your heart and to your spirit as you listen to Jeffrey and Spencer's shares and you reflect on your own journeys. And what are you bringing forward? How are you being prompted to share your journey, to share your healing, to share your transformation in a way that can positively impact others on theirs? And I believe when you have that pull on your heart, that prompting to share, sometimes we think, someday I'll do that. Someday I'll share that. I'll share that someday. And I want to encourage you to find a way to share it today. Because if you're feeling that prompting, it's because it's needed. That message is needed. That could help someone now, not just someday, but it's needed now in your words, in your way. So today I want to challenge you and invite you and stretch you to find some steps you can take today, not someday, to start bringing your wisdom forward, your messages forward in a way that can touch and impact others, because you're absolutely needed. And it's not by chance that you've tuned in today. So with that, we are continuing our conversation with Jeffrey and Spencer Olson, who co-created the book, Where Are You?, that has been a #1 international best-selling sensation, continuing to ripple out in the world in so many different ways. And behind the scenes, I asked them if they could just share a little bit from the book so you can get a feel and a flavor. And I want you to listen with your heart and spirit how they use language. And they've already talked about the imagery that they use to support the message. So for those of you who are creators out there, it's great to look at this and listen and feel with all your senses. So with that, Spencer, do you want to start and share either a direct reading or just give us an example of something in the book that captures that feel and the senses?
Yeah, there's a line that says, "Are you in the scarf that you once wore?" And in that line, that had a particular meaning to me because I still have the scarf that my mom wore that smelled like her. And so that was kind of a bit of, a personal bit that I put in there. I mean, there was a bit about music and banana bread as well. Like we said, this book, we tried to kind of generalize it, but we also wanted to have the spirit of it being very personal as well.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, because I think that's something that we don't always stop and think about. It's almost like we get caught unaware in our grief and our healing in that journey. A scent or a memory or something sparks, and we're not always expecting it, and we can get carried away in it. And how beautiful that is to bring those elements into the book to take people on that journey. Because I think that is, though those were personal examples, universal in nature, that there are those things around us that remind us so much of those who have gone on. So thank you so much, Spencer. I appreciate that. And then, Jeffrey, did you have a section you wanted to share or read that you felt also captures kind of that heart and spirit of the book to give us a feeling, an example?
Oh yeah, there's so much, and like I say, it's a simple story, but there's a section where it's really the transition. I mean, the searching for, where are you? Where are you? Are you in the flowers? Are you in the sky? And, in our experience, and particularly Spencer's experience, it was difficult to know where are these loved ones. But there's a little section that I call it the bridge in the middle of the book, this arc, that kind of brings you to a place. And it says, sometimes, though, when I am calm and still, I think of you. And I can almost feel you, like you're right beside me. Maybe that's where you are, right beside me, or maybe even closer. Perhaps you're alive within me. And that's kind of my favorite arc, that bridge, that section. And, I still tear up because of the personal attachment. It's almost like our vulnerability became our power in this book. Here's two men, and gosh, some guys fish or golf or work on cars. My son and I wrote a book based on our pain, based on our grief, based on our joy and our healing journey. And that vulnerability is what brought power to it.
I love that. And I thank you for your willingness to be vulnerable and share. And I agree. I think that was and is some of the power of the book, is sharing in that place so personally, authentically, and openly, and kind of trusting the world with the journey that was experienced and the seeking, and particularly from that 7-year-old place. I was just thinking, Spencer, I think when we have loss, it takes us to kind of our core. And so I'm not surprised people are being touched in all these different ways. And we need things, I think, in a way that we can understand in simple language, because the emotions and what we're feeling can be so overwhelming and challenging to face. Sometimes we want to hide. So having it shared in such a loving, simple language, but very authentic and from the heart, I think is so powerful. So I celebrate your book, your willingness that both of you had to share so vulnerably and openly and entrust the world with your message. And it's just touching so many people's hearts and lives and shifting things for people and impacting them. And you just touched on a little bit of that in our conversation today. And I wanted to see, as you reflect back on the things we've talked about, thinking about those in our audience that are writers, that are looking to share their story or bring their book forward, and they're really hoping to help bring transformation, hope, and healing to others by sharing. Do you have a piece of advice or wisdom to support them in doing that as they're looking at their messages, they're looking at bringing them forward? Perhaps it is the being vulnerable. Maybe that's one of the tips, bringing the senses in. Those are some I'm picking up from the conversation today. I love how you use the visual aids and all the elements, in a sense, to bring forward, even being mindful on the texture of the pictures and how that would support the language being shared, the words being shared. So with that, Spencer, I don't know if you had something you would share with our audience to support them in bringing their messages and books forward.
Definitely. And this thought came to mind just a little bit before we started this podcast. But, it is true. I am a little hesitant to share our story and my story just as a person. I'm not always ready to share. And so for those writers, you're already kind of a step ahead of me. You're a writer. I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a writer, although I've got a book. But, just trust yourself and don't overanalyze anything yet. Just get the main idea out there, and then you can kind of nitpick and go through things. But it's just part of that creative process of writing is you just got to write it down first. Don't worry about grammar or any of that. Just get it out there. and then you can go back and kind of comb through it. But don't hesitate to share your message, because as I am surprised myself, people can benefit from your story and the things you have to share.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you. I love that. Trust yourself, because I think we can get hesitant and shrink back. So really great advice, and to just get it out, then go back. Really, really good insight. Thank you, Spencer. I appreciate that. And how about you, Jeffrey? Now, you've written a couple of books here, and so I'd love your perspective on advice that you would give our listeners today.
Yeah, gosh, tell your story. Dive in. And we all have a story. We all have something to share, and each and every one of us carry a unique vibration. It's beyond the words. I believe books have a soul, and that vibration, that soul comes through the book, through the words. And boy, bottom line, be honest. Just be honest. Honesty is so difficult to find in this world. Everybody wants to spin it or spin the story or, embellish or this, that, the other thing. Honesty brings clarity, it brings peace, and it brings power. So pour your honest heart and soul out on the pages and watch what happens, because that's the vibration you bring to this world, and it's recognized. The energy is undeniable, and everything's energy. And energy is everything, even in the pages of a book. So go for it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love that. Tell your story. Trust the honest vibration of who you are in sharing it and bringing it forward. And I love that perspective that every book has a soul. How powerful, and to tap into that and trust it and be willing to let it guide you and bring it forward. I know I've talked with some authors, and they will sometimes ask the book, what does the book want them to share? And they take it from that angle, because sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming trying to figure it out all on their own. So to me, that reminds me of some of what you're saying about a book having a soul. So just beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, both of you, today. I truly appreciate it. And as we reflect back on our conversation today, there's a couple things I want to make sure we touch on. I want people to know how they can connect with you and where they can get your beautiful book. If they've gotten a taste and they're wanting more, I want them to know that. But before we do that, I would love for you to see if there are any final things on your heart that you would love to share with our listeners today. So with that, Jeffrey, any final thoughts?
Oh, wow. I mean, since we're talking to writers and authors and those that are putting their story out there, it's a legacy. I mean, Spencer and I will be long gone, and this little book, Where Are You?, will still be on the shelf, and it will serve and support generations. And that's a big deal, and that's how I embrace it. Hey, it doesn't matter how many buy the book. It's just that the right ones get it. And it might be 2 generations away from where we are now, but it will serve and support and be of value.
Beautiful. Love that. Thank you. And how about you, Spencer? Any final thoughts, shares on your heart that you want to share?
I think I may have gone a little early with my final thought, but I might just add to it, if you build it, they will come. And also, to go off of what my dad said, if you are transparent, if you're honest about your message, people will receive it.
Yep.
And it's just important to get your message out there, and the people who deserve to hear it at the time will get, they'll find it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. So what is the best way for people to connect in with you that want to go deeper? As well as I'd love for you to share where to get your books. So, Jeffrey, do you want to start off?
Sure. Yeah, the best way to get the book is on Amazon. You go to Amazon, and yet there's an easy shortcut. If you go to our website, which is Envoy Publishing, ENVOY publishing.com, there's a link right there. You can click on that, and it'll literally take you to whatever part of the world you're in and give you the appropriate Amazon link, and you can get the book there. You can also connect with us. There's a place there to contact. You can write emails. We look at those, we read them, and we'd love to hear from you. EnvoyPublishing.com. We're also
Beautiful.
on social media. I'm at Jeffrey, Jeffrey C. Olsen, Olsen. It's just my full name, middle initial, no dots or dashes, at Jeffrey C. Olsen.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. Listeners, I encourage you to lean in and connect. There's a reason and a purpose they're sharing their contact information. So I encourage you to write it down, to lean into that support, because it is not a solo journey. You've gotten some great tips and insight to support you on the journey, and I want to encourage you to keep those connections going that support you. And with that, Spencer, did you want to add anything to the contact information that they can take down and lean into?
I would just say that you can find me on social media. If you search Spencer Olsen, that's Olsen, Olsen. I'm sorry, I don't know the @ or anything like that, but if you search Spencer Olsen, you'll see me there with my wife, with my beard. But I believe you can also get a hold of us through Envoy. I believe it's Envoy Publishing, isn't it, Dad?
Yep, that's right. Envoy Publishing.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect.
And one last thing, because
sure.
September 1st, we will be in Salt Lake City presenting at the IONS conference, and that Thursday evening, September 1st, you could meet us face to face. Come give us a handshake or a hug, and we'll be in Salt Lake City that day.
Oh, beautiful. Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. I encourage everyone to lean in, connect, and go deeper. I also want to invite everyone at the end of today's show to take a couple of minutes for you and really look at what are some steps you can take today to bring your message forward, to share it from that honest, authentically you place, to get it down on paper, not overthink it, not overanalyze it, trust it. Perhaps tap into the soul of your story, of your book, leaning into the legacy that you're called to leave and share with future generations. Those are great things to remember and to tap into as you're looking at bringing your book forward, your message forward. And I wanted to give you a couple of resources to support you on your journey as well. So in addition to being able to connect in with Jeffrey and Spencer, I also wanted to share with you, we have a series called the Emerging Author Series. You can find it at emergingauthorseries.com. And it's a set of 9 ebooks that are our gift to you that answer all kinds of questions that we find authors have about what is a best-selling campaign, or myths and truths about publishing, or I have the idea, now what? So giving you support on the journey. So that is our gift to you to support you on your journey. I encourage you to lean in. And you might also have a specific question that you're wondering. And I wanted to let you know how you can get that information to us. So if you go to askrebeccaaquestion.com, askrebeccaaquestion.com, you can submit your question directly there. We have a new show series that we've launched on YouTube. That's the Ask Rebecca Show, and we take your questions and we answer them on air. So it's an opportunity to have your questions answered, and it also helps us look at the types of guests and amazing experts that we bring to you to support you on the journey. So I encourage you to tap into those 2 resources to support you, emergingauthorseries.com and Ask Rebecca a Question, and we will be honored to support you on your journey because your message matters. In fact, it's absolutely needed in the world. Nobody has the same vibration, the same story, the same journey, the same perspective that you do. And by leaning in and being willing to share that, it makes a difference and it creates a positive ripple out in the world. So I want to encourage you, find some steps today you can take to bring your message and your story forward. Have an amazing week, everyone. I'll look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.